What's going on, everybody? Dangerous Thing here. Welcome back to my channel and welcome to yet another episode of Boom Beach. So I just woke up a few minutes ago and I checked my YouTube channel and I saw some of your comments that you guys left on my previous video, and a few of you said, do all boosted troops against Dr. Terror today. Well, I would have loved to have done that, but as you can see, I am currently still 7 hours and 24 minutes away from finishing my HQ upgrade to level 19. And I am still 18 hours and 15 minutes away from upgrading my medkit to, I believe, level 6. I can't quite remember, to be honest with you. So instead of going all boosted troops and, attacking Dr. Terror and wasting 3 power spells, power powders for GBE max, for troop health, and for troop damage, I decided that I'm gonna bring back another episode of going through our last fully successfully completed OP and showing you the highlights that I thought were, very beautiful, very well coordinated attacks. And yeah, let's jump in. Hopefully you will enjoy it. And once the update is over, because I'm gonna go ahead and drop 73 diamonds for the HQ and 166 diamonds for the armory upgrade. Even though I have 827 available, I feel like I should still save them up for something really special, such as another upgrade of a landing craft to level 17. Alright, let's get rolling here. Let's jump in and check out what went down in the previous Operation Stronghold. So, we are currently going through another Operation Stronghold, and actually I was chatting with OP yesterday, and I don't know if he'll be mad at me for mentioning this or not, but Joe Beef and OP and I were all chatting, and they said that we're really strong when we're going against Operation Stronghold, and we choke when we're doing choke point, because as you can see right here, we're getting all of our VP on Stronghold, but not so much when it comes to choke point. We just kind of fall a little bit short, and so I think for now we're probably gonna hold back, although on this particular Operation Choke Point we came pretty close, 938 out of 990, so that was, I think, the closest we've ever came in on Choke Point. So let's jump in and take a look at what happened in Operation Stronghold that was finished 1 day and 12 hours ago, or rather started 1 day and 12 hours ago. So I just watched all of these attacks, and I'm going to start with the very first one by EC. And I wanted to show this to you because he is really adamant about always going in with all warriors. And look at this one. This one was very paced and very coordinated and very well orchestrated. I don't know how else I can describe it. He takes out the cannons, the mines around the shock launchers and the rocket launchers. Then he gathers all of his troops by one of the power cells by the shore. As you can see, he takes out the middle rocket launcher, smokes them to shock launcher, heals them up, shocks the defenses, takes out the shock launcher, and then takes out the 2 remaining rocket launchers. So that was very instrumental to this attack, because as you can see, these were basically the only shock launchers, the only one shock launcher. I can't speak, I think I'm still not awake fully. I should get my green tea ready and going. So the only shock launcher for the entire base was right there in the middle. There were 3 rocket launchers right by the shoreline, sort of in the second line of defenses, and we only have 1 more rocket launcher left on the entire base. So that was a very instrumental cleanup, I should say. So it was really important, even though it was only 4 victory points, it really helped to set our team up for nice attack going forward. So really lovely attack, and like I said, I watched all of them and I decided that I'm just going to show you the ones that I thought were the coolest. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and show you how Red destroyed Quay. And look at that. We have 2 consecutive operations where we have Zukas and Rifleman. Boom, boom. All right, let's take a look at what Red did. Let's speed it up. So he goes ahead and he sends them to the left flank. takes out the clunk of defenses right over here. And then flares all of his troops at the power core. So at this point, he's really outside of the reach of flamethrowers, and I don't believe he's getting hit up by the sniper tower. Nope, he surely isn't. So he's just set up for a nice little wipeout, and the power core is going to go down in no time, and he's doing a little smoke at the core. That to me seems like that's something that Nick at Night used to do back in the day when he would finish with a base. He would throw the smokes at the location of the previously standing HQ, but maybe that's just me, and maybe it's just a coincidence. Alright, I wanted to show you an attack of Sea Owner because I thought that this was very, very well orchestrated. I'm always at awe of people that have so much control, you know, because a lot of times I feel like when you're playing a video game and look at that Zuka formation, they are just the most beautiful troops. When they formate, it's just absolutely perfect. Anyway, but I always have a lot of respect for people that have really great controls of their troops and they're not rushing through it. They're very paced, they're very calm. So if you saw it just a few seconds ago, he threw critters right on those mini power cells. And you know what it did is it distracted the attention of the corner standing sniper tower, and then after his troops were done reorging, he basically you know, they were still under the smoke screens. He threw another bunch of critters to clear up the mines or to distract the attention of sniper towers. Once again, at this level, sniper towers are really deadly because they're so boosted. They're massive ice statues on the base. And what he does here is, you know, he's just directing his troops through the corner. He's farming the mini power cells, and then he throws yet another bunch of critters. He's got 2 flamethrowers left and just a few Zukas, so it's really important that that shock launcher is hitting up critters instead of hitting up his flamethrowers, and that's exactly what was happening. And then the last flamethrower. I really can't speak, you guys. I should never do these episodes this early in the morning. I am so not awake. So the last Scorcher was taken out by the boom cannon, and the remaining Zukas did not last very long. But nonetheless, 25 victory points by clearing up the right flank of the base. And I really enjoyed the combo of Zukas and Scorchers. I really thought that it was an interesting one, and I wanted to show it to you. So if you don't like it, you can smack a dislike button, but I wouldn't recommend that, of course. And now let's take a look at Josh W361, who got 40 victory points with going in all hookahs. What he does is he deploys his troops on a left-hand side. He takes out the clunk of the buildings with the rocket launcher, and then he basically is very mindful of whenever he farms for GBE energy, he keeps throwing barrages at the clunk of rocket launchers right by the power core. So that's something that is really important, right? Because if you know that you have limited amount of resources, whenever you farm for GBE on the base, remember to throw it wherever it makes more sense. And in this particular, on this particular base, it obviously is, you know, throwing it as much as possible on those rocket launchers. And look at that, he actually took one out, was just farming for GBE on the base once he landed his hookah troops. So I thought that was really cool, and when I watched it, at first I was like, oh, what's happening there? And then I zoomed in and I saw that he just continuously kept throwing barrages, and I thought that that was very well done, very well thought through, and yeah, great attack overall. Now let's see, I think I was gonna show not flow. Let's take a look at Helis, who takes down the base with tanks and medics. So we just were actually watching Josh attacking this base, and he took out the middle rocket launcher right by the power core, and then we had a few more players come in and take care of the remaining rocket launchers. We're still in the radius of these 3 rocket launchers right there, but what we're going to do is we're going to regroup and go above the power core The medics are rushing to keep the tanks healed up and healthy. So let's go ahead and take care of the cluster of boom cannons. And then we're gonna go ahead and with just 2 tanks left. 1 tank left and 41 seconds left. I'm speeding this up. So let's take a look at how with just 1 tank left, perfectly healthy tank, by the way, because those medics kept it healthy, he took down the entire power core. When I was watching it, I obviously, you know, when you go to replays, it shows that the player destroyed the base completely. But I was like, whoa, that is unbelievable. There's only 1 tank left. But with being completely outside of the reach of all of the defenses, this was absolutely perfect. Maybe a little bit lucky, maybe very well thought through. I don't know. Take a vote, leave a comment below, but Heli's number 9, very, very well done. All right, and now I wanted to take a look at Ahmed's attack. 37 points, going in hookah. As always, my favorite combo. And he just goes ahead and flares them to the right-hand side of the base, flares them 1 more time. And take a look at this nasty shock launcher right by the clunk of sniper towers. So we're now farming for GBE, but we're becoming quickly of reach of the shock launcher. So farming, more farming, and more farming. I believe those little things are not mini power cores. I think they're called power cells or plasma cells. I don't remember right now. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take out the shock launcher, which was really lovely because it was kind of pain in the arse. And the remaining Zookas are going to go down pretty quickly as soon as heavies were wiped out. But look at that. Now the only shock launcher remaining is way far out of the reach. So if the troops came from the right flank and went over and above, we would definitely be outside of the reach of that shock launcher. So really, really nicely done. Okay, so Ahmed, thank you very much for your contribution to our attack. All right, he's seen. Okie doke, let's take a look at 3 question marks. How he took down the entire base with all Zookas. So we're gonna go ahead and try to clear up the rocket launchers right by the power core. You're gonna smoke screen them so that they don't get hit up by mortars, and a crazy amount of machine guns right on the shore. That was really lovely coordination in getting them all deployed on the shore. Smoke screening them as close to the core as necessary. And then look at that, we're in perfect position. And because we're so close to rocket launchers, we're really not getting hit up by them because the radius of it is, you know, sort of outside of the core area of the core. You know what I mean? So we were standing right underneath rocket launchers and not getting hit up by them at all. And Zookas took everything down. That was just so, so beautiful. I really loved watching the deployment of all of the Zookas on the shore, because, you know, he was very paced, he didn't rush it, you know, he smoke screened them all, and what can I say, he's one of the best players that I have ever had a pleasure of working with, or playing with, or communicating with. So, very, very well done. And now let's take a look at Death Warrior, who destroyed Duality with a wonderful combo of, once again, hookahs. So you remember we've just seen a few attacks where we basically took out the shock launcher that was right there by the power core. And like I said, you know, the one remaining shock launcher on the left is really far outside of the reach, so we can just direct our troops over and above. And in this case, I don't even think we had to go this far, because the only thing we had to worry about was that boom cannon. Now all the defenses are shocked, and in no time, the power core is taken down. So really, really beautiful, very well done. And I actually did not participate in this attack. Let me check. Yeah, I don't think I did, because I think I've mentioned in my previous video, you guys, I've been super busy lately. I just got a new job. Yesterday was actually my last day at my previous job, where I spent a little bit over 2 years, and it's been really bittersweet because it was really difficult to leave the team that I worked with. They were all wonderful people, really, really great friends, but I am moving on to next thing, and so yeah, I've been super busy, so I wasn't as dedicated to my OP attacks, which I apologize for in advance. And now let's take a look at Joe Beef attacking Commander. And Joe Beef is also one of the top players of my task force. I don't even know how he's still sticking around when the leader of the task force is someone like me who is a total noob. But he's really wonderful. Look at that. He threw in some critters so that Doom Cannons are distracted, and then Zukas take it down and he throws a barrage, and I don't know if the timing was perfect and it really wasn't necessary, or if the barrage is what actually took it down. Let's watch it one more time and let's just concentrate on the power core because I was too busy chatting. And yeah, let's take one close look again. He flares the troops, smokes them, smoke screens them, loses a few Zukas, and right over here, flares them, critters. Alright, so it was almost simultaneous. It is really hard to tell whether it was, you know, the barrage that helped Zukas to take it down, or whether the timing was so perfectly aligned that, you know, it went down, that it hit the power core right as Zukas were about to annihilate it and take it down. So let's take a look at Turbo, who destroyed Black River and got 50 victory points for the team with medics and tanks. Now, I often talk to my teammates about how medics and tanks sometimes are not the best idea for task force operations, especially if your medics are lower level, because who are we kidding? With these bases being so boosted, even, you know, even a mortar, even a machine gun can wipe out your tank in absolutely no time. And oftentimes, even medics are of no help. So this is really a great surprise, I suppose, but also, you know, just very good luck, because by then there wasn't much left around the core. When you first jump it into task force operation with medics and tanks, if your medics and tanks are low level, my personal opinion is that it's sometimes a waste of your resources and a waste of an attack for the team. This obviously was an exception. Let's go back and take a look at what level they were. So his tanks are level 15 and his medics are level 11. So that is actually really high level for the medics. So that would explain why they were able to, you know, keep the tanks healed up throughout the attacks, because as, let's watch it again, we will see that they will actually get hit up by the mortar and the machine gun as they're getting closer to the power core. But yeah, my general idea is that tanks and medics, not the best idea unless they're really high level and unless you have maxed out GBE, you know, so you can shock all of the defenses that are gonna, you know, wipe out your tanks and medics. So yeah, this was a really well done attack, tanks and medics. You know, you proved me wrong, so thank you for that. But for lower level players, I still think it's probably not the best idea. And let me know in comments below if you agree or disagree. If you're a lower level player and you had a successful OP take out on a higher level operation, I would love to hear from you. And yeah, you know, if I'm ever wrong, I am okay reviewing my position, reviewing my opinion, and, you know, if necessary, admitting that I was wrong. But this right now is going to close the Operation Stronghold that has already been completed. We have another Stronghold in the making, in the going right now. So I will show you guys what happened there once it's completed. And I'm probably going to jump in. I'm going to retrain my troops because my Scorcher is level 1 and my tanks, I forget what level my tanks are. Let's take a look. My tanks are level 8. So I am definitely not going to go in with level 8 tanks and level 2 medics. So I'm going to show you the next Stronghold OP once it's completed. Thank you very much for checking in with me, you guys. I always appreciate it. Until next time, Dangerous Thing is out.